today we will be covering everything you need to know as a new player or even an experienced player. There's going to be something in here for everybody today. We're going to do a complete tour of the cab. We are going to show all locations of every single component and how to change them. We're going to go over the best ways to store items. We're going to look at the map. We're going to talk about driving controls, how to drive safely without crashing. We're going to talk about how to properly dock, where to repair, get your upgrades, buying and selling in stores, essential upgrades, how to get them, and finally we're going to cap it off with the best way to make money and the best way to earn XP. So sit back, relax. Guys, if you enjoy the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into this. So we're going to start situated right in our seat in our cab. So if we take a look around, we'll start up here. So on your left, you have your radio. You can turn it on, you can turn it off for music. Here you're going to have your controls for your left thruster. On the other side, it's going to be mirrored. It's going to be for your right thruster. Up here, you're going to have your chokes, which I honestly have never needed to use. This is going to turn off your rear thrusters over here. If the light is on, it is active, not off. Turn it off, light goes away. Over here, this is going to be your system alert controls. Now, your system alerts pop up on these screens over here and over here. It's going to start on by default, but when you get further into the game, you're going to see that you do not necessarily want them on because you will need to see on these screens and the messages will pop up obscuring your view. So go ahead and turn them off. You can keep them on if you like, but just remember where it is so you can turn it off. Right here, this is going to be your jump lever. So when you get to a gate, this is what you're going to use to activate the gate and jump through it. This is going to be your ping scanner, which we will go over later. And this is going to lower and open your shutters in your cab. Over here is your CB radio, which is how you're going to communicate and do your conversations with the NPCs and the storyline in the game. Now, if we move down here, you have your speedometer, fuel, and your air supply in your cab. This one's very important. Keep an eye on this. If it goes into the red, you will slowly start to suffocate and die. Down here, we have our temperature. This is the inside temperature, and this is the outside temperature. Right below that, you have your controls for your environment. So I tend to keep mine on moderate and generally on low. Now, if you enter an extremely hot system or an extremely cold system, you will need to change this. You can change it to warm, hot, cold, cool, or moderate. And then you're also able to change the amount that it's pushing into your cabin, all the way from off to max. So low, moderate generally will get you through in most systems. It's not until you enter the very hot or very cold systems that you really are going to need to worry about this. So moving on, we have the controls for all of our lights in our cab. Now, if you are running low on power, turn everything off. You really don't need that. And if we look at our screen, you can see it will reflect on there. So the core A and core B are what the lights are going to drain. Now I am docked, so you actually won't be able to see them. So what I'll do is just unhitch real quick. And now you can see the draining values, 14 and 28. So if we turn everything off, draining values go way down. The same is also true of your environmental controls here. As you turn them up, the consumption goes up. Moderate will do the lowest, but it's going to stabilize once it reaches the temperature that you're looking for. Now moving on, we have our emergency brake over here. I don't ever recommend using this because when you pull this lever, it's going to flush air from your cab. So I'll show you what I mean. Keep an eye over here on this meter. You'll just be able to see it in the left side of the screen. Now when I pull this, well, let me get some speed actually first. Now watch when I pull this. See that? It drains air out of your cab. So you don't ever really want to be using that unless you're in like the most extreme emergency condition possible. Now, let's talk about these monitors over here. Well, first, we'll check out some more things here. Driver assist. Now, driver assist, when you turn this on and off, the truck is no longer going to automatically compensate for when you turn. So with driver assist off, if you turn a little bit, you're going to keep turning. It's not going to stop you. Same goes for the other way. And that also works for your acceleration and your reversing. So I recommend keeping it on unless you really know what you're doing. Now over here, we have our cruise control. When you turn that on, obviously it's going to activate cruise control. I don't typically use that often because I don't like losing control. I prefer not to use that. Over here, this is your hitch and unhitch. So when you back into either a dock or you're picking up a trailer, this is going to be the lever you're going to use for that. Now moving on to our screens over here. This screen on the left side, it's going to give you information about your truck status. This is your hull, and these are the service status of your upgrades in your truck, which we will talk a little bit more about later. Now, if you keep going, it does show you the systems, what is online, what is having an issue, and then it gives you different camera angles. So you can scroll through that and see all of the different angles. This is the one typically I stay on, which is the docking camera. But there is also the forward camera as well, which is extremely useful in certain circumstances. But I would recommend just staying on the docking camera during most times. Now, on the other monitor, we will start here. It also has all of the same camera angles, but it does have different information that it's going to display on this screen, which is going to show your power status. This is the battery charge you have available for all your different systems. It's also going to show you your air filter status. So it has the efficiency. It does not have the life, but it does have the efficiency of each air filter in here, and it will tell you the delta rate, which is how much you're going up or down at that current moment. Once you equalize and you get to either max or 0, the delta rate will be 0. Everything else is just going to be your standard camera views. And that covers everything in the cab that you will need to know. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the rest of the interior of the cab. So, starting from the front, looking back, yours will not look like this. You won't have all these boxes, but we're going to come down here, and this is going to be your fuse panel. This is where you can turn all of your systems on and off. So gravity, for instance, if you flip it off, you lose your gravity. Flip it back on, your gravity comes back on. Now, really the only time you need to use this is when you're changing out a UCC. There are certain instances where you can pull out a UCC and it will completely short circuit your entire panel and you'll need to turn everything back on. So in order to avoid that, all you need to do is flip off the corresponding fuse before you change out your UCC, and that'll be these guys right here. Now, next, we're going to look at all of these components and where the battery or the component itself is located in the cab. So, under these stairs right here, this is where you're going to find your power cell for your gravity, as well as your UCC for your gravity. Over here, under these shutters, this is going to be the location of your shock pods. You will not start the game with these, but once you do get them, this is the location for them. Moving upstairs, right here is where you're going to find all your air filters. There are 4 of them in total. Next up, this is going to be the power cell for your oxygen generation. Right below that is going to be the UCC for your climate control. So this is going to control temperature. This is going to control oxygen. To the right of that, you're going to have a UCC for your suit as well as a power cell. Now, both of these will need to be functioning in order for your suit to charge. As you can see, if you look below, there is a purple bar and a teal colored bar. That is oxygen and power. Both need to refill over time after you use your suit. So that is the location of every component within your cab that you're going to need to know. Next up, we're going to talk about storing items. So your case here, your hard case, is really the only place you should be storing all your items that can fit into it. There are temperature sensitive items in the game, there are shock sensitive items in the game, and then there are fragile items that if they take any sort of impact will be damaged. So you want to make sure you're putting all of that in your hard case here in order to be protected. Now, when you put items in your hard case, the best way to store these, and as you can see, I have a wall full of these here, you're just going to put the case in your shelving here. It can take a little bit of fiddling around, but trust me, it will work. And then as soon as you have it in there, you just open the top, and that's going to secure these so that if the gravity does go out, which I'll demonstrate for you right here, they don't move. They stay put. The next thing we're going to talk about is the map and knowing all you need to know in order to read this correctly, because there are some things that you do not see right off the bat. So right now we are in Atlas Prime. If we go ahead and zoom in on Atlas Prime, you'll see a couple icons now appear. So these icons tell you everything that is located within that system. If you go to your map key over here and expand that, this will show you what those icons mean. So if we look at Atlas Prime, it has a trader, it has gas, it has an upgrade shop, missions, a paint shop, and over here, this is a toll booth. So not every system will have these, and if it does have it, it will show you over here on this left-hand side. So that is going to be your map key right there. Now on the left side, if you expand this, this is going to show you the temperature, the relative traffic that's going to be in the region. So that's how many other trucks are going to be on the road, and the security. Now, these prices here are very important for figuring out where you want to buy or sell any items that you have in your cab. So that's going to be all of your fuel containers, your UCCs, your air filters, pretty much any item in the game. Now, if you keep moving down, it's going to show you the gas prices in that system. And right underneath that, if there is any restricted cargo, it will have that listed there. If you get caught with the restricted cargo, there is a fine. So I recommend checking this often and making sure that you don't have any of these items in your cargo, at least to begin with, when you're going through those systems, in order to avoid any sort of fine. Now, if we move down and we look at this panel here, this is associated with your waypoint. So if I make that waypoint there between Atlas Prime and Purity, you see it changes. So it's one jump, estimated distance is 7 miles, and it gives you the time, light years, and estimated total duration. This is going to be important once you start doing some of the different jobs, such as the just-in-time jobs, so that you can correctly plan things out and make sure you're getting to the system when you need to be there. The other information that you're going to be able to find on this screen will be the time and the date in the top left corner. On the right, you're going to see your weight. Now, this has nothing to do with the trailer you are hauling. This is only what you have in your cab. So as you can see, for me, I can have a total of 882 pounds in my cab. Currently, I have 437. If you go over this and you get stopped for a weight check, which would be this symbol right here, they're going to require you to get back to this weight before they will let you go. So you will have to basically surrender items until you are at or below this weight limit. This star is going to show you your skill points, and your skill points will be spent here. And the very last one on the right is going to be your money. Down on the bottom right, we have our experience and our rank. and your sectors explored as well as golden cones found. Next up, we are going to talk about how to properly drive. So if you have not played many space games, you need to understand that any movements you make are not going to be immediately processed. So if you're going straight this way, your momentum is going to continue carrying you straight. As you turn, you are slowly going to begin going in that direction that you're turning in. So if you want to make that quicker, what you can do is turn and then accelerate in that direction, and you can see it begins to send me in that direction much faster than as opposed to if I were just, turning and waiting for it to happen. Now, this is with driver assist on. If you turn driver assist off, no matter whether you turn left, you turn right, up, down, it doesn't matter. You're going to keep going in the direction that you were going when you were last accelerating. So keep that in mind if you do your driver assist off. Now, if you turn cruise control on, it's just going to accelerate you in that direction until you turn it off. So the next thing we're going to talk about is safely navigating, because if you look around, you'll be able to see there are tiny asteroids all over the place, specifically in Atlas Prime, where we are now. Now, the best way to drive is going to be in your third-person view here. This is going to be the default view it puts you in. I actually like to use a different view. So if you see on the top right, there is a change camera truck control, which is both the F and G keys. So for me, I'm playing on PC. If I hit the F key, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it puts me on this view. Now, this is the top roof of the truck. And as you're maneuvering, you'll see, you can see all of the space junk, the asteroids, the meteors, everything a lot easier from this view. Now, you don't have to so much worry about above you because this is the roof view. You do still need to consider underneath you and to the sides. So when you start to see debris, just quickly make your adjustment. What I recommend doing is get the speed that you want to go, lay off the gas, and then if you see something in front of you, you quickly turn and accelerate in that direction so that you get a quick change in your direction, your movement of travel. So that is the best way to fly. You can also just do the standard third-person view. That is also very good for flying, but you will see if you're looking straight ahead, you have a pretty big blind spot. So if you're going to travel just in this view, make sure you keep moving to the left and the right so that way you can spot anything that's coming right at you. The next thing we're going to talk about, and this does come up quite often in my videos when I've done my playthrough for this, is people have some issues with docking. So we're going to go over 2 of the easiest and fastest ways to dock. Now, the first one is very straightforward. We have our docking port right there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fly straight at it. Now you'll see there's a little white dot right in the middle of my screen. I just want to line that up right with the docking port. And once you get close enough, just go ahead and stop your truck completely. And then you're just going to spin it around. That's all you're going to do is spin. Now take a look at your docking port camera right here. Go ahead and back it up and hitch up. It's very simple. I was a little too close, so you might want to keep your distance in mind there, but it's very quick, very easy to do. Takes very little time. So I'm going to show you the second method now. And essentially, this kind of goes off a principle, which is your truck is always going to pivot on you. So if you get the docking port right in your window, right here, and then begin to turn your truck, the docking port is basically going to be perfectly level with your truck, and then you'll be able to back it right in and easily dock it from there. Just like that. The next thing we're going to cover is where to get your repairs and your upgrades. So if we take a look at our map and look at our map key, you're going to see there are paint shops, body shops, and upgrade shops. Now, your body shops, you will be able to repair your structure, but you will not be able to repair your service. So your upgrade shop is where you're going to want to go for all those things. Now, if we look at our map, we are in Atlas Prime. There is one in Atlas Prime. We know because we have the icon here, which matches the upgrade shop icon over here. So let's go ahead and back out of there. Now, we'll unhitch from here, and as you can see, upgrades. That is where we want to go. Now, unlike regular docking, all you have to do to get into the upgrade shop is just get yourself in that orange area and come to a complete stop. Once you do that, you get a little animation and it brings you into the upgrade section. Now in here, this is where you can go ahead and get all of your upgrades for all of your different systems. And down here is where you can choose to repair your hull or do a quick service, which repairs all of these systems here back to 100%. And that's what it looks like for a repair. One other thing that is worth mentioning, if you do just start the game, until you hit, I believe it is 80,000 miles, all of your repairs will be free. So you can come in here into any Auto Essentials and you can repair your hull for free. After 80,000 miles, they will begin to charge you. The next thing we're going to talk about is buying and selling. Now, scattered throughout whatever map you're in, you may find shops such as this, as well as mission boards over there. Now, the shops, just a standard dock. So you're going to go ahead and do your docking procedure. And once we get docked, I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like inside that menu. So when you first dock, it will pop up with the shop, but I did close the shop because I wanted to show you how to access the shop if you've closed it. So you're going to go ahead and close your airlock back here, and you'll see the door changes into this cool blue color, and you just go ahead and left click that if you're on PC, and it brings up the shop again. So in the shop, you're going to see all the local prices. This is going to be whether they pay more or less for these particular items. So here we can see it's plus 18% for energy and chemicals. Chemicals are going to be things such as your fuel here, your propane and butane tanks, etc. Chemicals are going to be things such as your fuel, your propane, your butane tanks, etc. So over here, you see I have all my cases and I have nothing to sell. Well, if you click on the case, it's going to want to sell the entire case. There is a way around that. If you right click on the case, it opens all the contents and we can just go ahead and sell right out of there. So we have a couple broken UCCs, which we'll sell. That is a fresh one. We don't want to sell that. We'll keep that battery around. And we have air filters, which we don't want to sell as well because we will need those. So once you have selected everything you want to sell, you've chosen what you want to purchase over here, you just go ahead and click the confirm trade icon. And there you go. Now I am going to buy something here just to show you what happens to the items that you purchase. So we'll buy all these UCCs because we do need them. And we'll go ahead and confirm that. Now, if we open our airlock, everything that you purchased is located in here. The next thing we're going to talk about is going to be truck upgrades. Now, these are not the upgrades that you get through the Auto Essentials. These are going to be the upgrades to your truck that just add certain things that you do not start with. Now, if you don't want to know about these because it can be kind of spoilers, go ahead and just skip this section, move on to the next one. If you do want to know about these, then continue on. So let's look here. If we go into our convoy job, you'll see there are these arrows pointing up. There's one right there, another one over here, and another one over here. These are the upgrades to your truck. So this one up here is going to be your hidden compartment, and that's going to be on Barrow's mission line. Down here is going to be your scanner, and that's on Moonbaby's line. And these two are going to be your shock shielding and your shutters. Now, these will let you survive zones, the newer zones that you're going to be going into. The shock shielding is required for the electric zones. There are electric clouds that you sometimes have to fly through. The shutters are required for the solar zones. So once you unlock these upgrades, you'll be able to enter those zones. Now, the hidden compartment and the scanner, they are not like these upgrades. These basically let you hide illegal items within your truck, and this one lets you scan for salvage. So I'll go ahead and show those to you now. This is going to be your shutters, and what this does is it insulates your truck from extremely high or low temperatures and lets your environmental controls perform a lot more efficiently. On the left side is your scanner. Now, if you scan, if we're lucky, some salvage will pop up. Okay, none popped up, so we'll have to go and find some. But before we do that, we're also going to look at the other things. So here is our hidden compartment. This is where you can put any illegal commodities. And once you close this, they will not be scanned by security. So they are completely safe in here. You don't have to worry about what is or is not legal in that system. On the other side of the cab, this is going to be our shock pods right here, which we did also go over in the components. Let's talk about the best way to make money now. So when you first start out, you're going to be very limited. You pretty much are going to be forced to do just hauling contracts, but once you get the proper upgrades, you will be able to find the most lucrative way to make money in the game, and that is going to be through salvage. So let me sit down here and I'll show you what the beacons look like. When you hit your scanner here, you'll see these little eyes pop up. Now, you can also find these just randomly flying around, but it's a lot harder to find them that way because the detection radius is extremely small. Now, once you've found one, you're just going to fly right up to it, get as close as you can. Right about there is good for me. And what you're going to do is hop out of your seat. I like to grab a container and bring it out with me to collect all the small stuff. Go ahead and put your suit on and go on out your airlock. So we're going to get our first look here at our salvage, and it's going to have quite an eclectic mix of things. So we see here, let me just put this down. We've got a mining charge, a crate of, what is this, wine or beer, a propane tank, I do believe. It's either propane or butane. Propane. And then there were some other things that did fly off. I'm not going to go after those. Well, there's one right there. Let's see what you are. More alcohol. So you kind of get the gist here. You can get quite a few different things. There are some big ones that you got to look out for. Mainly electronics you want. You can get batteries, you can get air filters, you can get pretty much anything out in these salvage beacons. So this is going to be your best way to make money. Now, as far as the best systems to do it in, I have had a lot of luck in Red Sock over here. But do keep in mind, it is in the solar region, so it does come with its own dangers, as well as there being a lot of debris in the area, making it somewhat difficult to navigate. Kingsweave is also a very good location to do it in. And yeah, I'd say those are my two favorites. Kingsweave is probably the best because it has just about everything you're going to need in the game. right in that one system. So that is going to be your best way to make money. We've covered quite a bit so far, so the last thing we are going to be talking about right now is going to be earning experience. Now, this is going to change because the devs have already posted that they are going to be reworking the experience gains in a future patch, so this information could differ slightly in the future. Now, right now, this is going to vary greatly on what trees you have locked or unlocked. But I will say that the best experience generator for me so far has been long distance hauls, long distance jobs, which is unlocked right here, with as many other multipliers as you can possibly get. So long distance jobs paired with multiple trailers are great, oversized loads, fragile goods. Those are all going to be good. The only one I wouldn't recommend is just-in-time jobs. So we are at a job board right now. Let's take a look. So you'll see almost everything is long distance here, which is great. But once we start getting multiple modifiers like this one here, that's where you're going to get your most experience from. And this one is even better. It's got multiple modifiers and it's a multi-trailer, so you're going to get way more experience for a 2-trailer than you would a single trailer. So keep that in mind as you're trying to level up. The best way to do it, the quickest way to do it, is going to go ahead and grab as many modifiers as you can on your contracts, and that's going to level you up the fastest. So guys, I hope you enjoyed these tips. I hope they help you progress quicker in the game to get it into it without as much of a learning curve as there can be in the beginning. It can certainly be frustrating, but hopefully this helps. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Let me know if you have any tips that you would also like to share. As always, I will see you guys on the next one.